Hey guys, it's Natalie, and as of today it is the 8th of August, and in 2 days time I will be collecting my A-level results. So for anybody who isn't from the UK, I'm just going to give you a rundown about how exams have been assessed this year because things have been different because of COVID. So for the past 2 years the government have pretty much cancelled all exams relating to GCSEs and A-levels because of the pandemic. Now what's different this year is that our grades are being determined by teacher assessed grades. So that basically means in my sixth form that we've had to do 5 assessments for every subject to help the teachers build up a portfolio, and then based on other little bits of evidence like mock grades, homework, any coursework in subjects are also put into this portfolio to send off to the examiners and to say this student deserves this grade, this student deserves that grade, and it helps them to justify grades so there isn't any teacher bias or anything like that, which is so much better compared to last year, because last year grades were determined by algorithms based on performances from previous years and also based on what postcode the schools were located in. I think about 40% of students ended up getting downgraded, and then after that the government had this massive U-turn and I think they gave everyone either their predicted grades or the grades that they got in their mock exams. And over the past 2 years I have been doing 3 A-levels, so I took English language, media studies and sociology, and then in year 13 I also did the EPQ, and my topic was about family vlogging and the impact it has on the digital footprints of children. I found it really interesting, especially with all the regulations, you know, in Europe to family vlogging, and there's been comparisons to child labour, and it was really interesting and I really enjoyed doing the EPQ. So I'm just going to be talking about my A-levels, how I felt whilst completing my A-levels, if I had any regrets, and just talking about the sixth form experience in general. So I first took English language as an A-level. I got a grade 6 at GCSE, so I thought, you know, because I was really good at it at GCSE, I thought I'd be really good at it for A-level because it was my strongest subject, and let me tell you, I cannot describe in words the massive gap between GCSE English language and A-level English language. There's such like a massive difference, and I can't describe it. Like GCSE, it was just like writing letters, writing stories, persuasive writing, and I really liked creative writing, and that was the main reason why I took A-level English language, because I really liked the creative side of things, which is more related to coursework, which is 20% of the final grade. But no, there was so much more to it than that. We did language diversity, so that was like gender, social groups, world Englishes, that was an absolute ball ache. Language change was more how obviously language changes over time, spelling, graphology, all those little elements that make up texts. And then we did the 2 coursework pieces. So one coursework piece was the language investigation, which for me I did about how gender is represented with British children's TV programmes over time. So I chose extracts from the 1950s, the 1980s and early 2010s. And then the next bit of coursework was creative writing. I was pretending to be a writer from The Guardian, and I wrote about why so many women were being underdiagnosed with autism, because it is such a huge problem, especially in the UK, because women usually don't get diagnosed with autism until like 30s, 40s. So for me, because I have autism myself, I got diagnosed when I was 2, and just doing research into it as well to allow me to make an accurate interpretation of the text was, you know, it was quite fascinating, and about the male phenotype and all that kind of stuff, you know, it is really interesting. I really enjoyed the coursework pieces, and you know, there was times where I did consider dropping A-level English language, but I definitely don't regret it now. In terms of the 5 assessments to get put in the portfolio, we did paper 1 section A and paper 1 section B. Yeah, paper B, which section B, which was child language acquisition. And then I did a essay about gender, language and gender, I don't believe we did anything else than that. I think it was just coursework and stuff that went into the portfolio. But in the September mock that we did, I ended up originally getting a C. However, I was 1 mark away from a B, and then my teachers ended up finding 1 mark somehow in my paper, and I ended up getting a B in English. So I was quite surprised with that, but I was really happy and I was really proud of myself. So moving on to media studies. I really enjoyed media studies because you study a whole range of texts as part of your closed study products. I really especially enjoyed the radio, The End of the World and Life Hacks by BBC Radio 1. I love radio because I think it's such a nice way to communicate with your audience, especially older audiences who are lonely, and they use that to cope with loneliness. And I think that aspect is really lovely, and that's why I like radio. Before I wanted to become a social worker, I actually either wanted to go into journalism, which was hence why I took A-level English and media, or I wanted to do presenting on a radio show someday. And I love media, like, honest to God, like video games. You study all sorts, like video games, TV shows, films, music videos, and they're all so interesting. They're all so different, but so interesting. I think the only one I didn't really like was video games because I found that really hard, and I don't really play video games, so I think that's what made it hard. So how media is organised is that 70% of it is written exams, and then 30% is your coursework. So for my coursework, you had to choose from like 6 briefs, and for me, I did it on an online promotional campaign on Western beauty standards. So we had to do free print materials and then free digital, like, online materials, and I did really well with that. I got 52 out of 60, which I think, based on grade boundaries, I think it's either a B or an A in my coursework. So I was really proud of myself for that. In my September mock, I ended up getting an A, and my media teacher said I was pretty close off an A star, so I was shocked, because I only thought, based on how I felt the exam went, I thought I'd only get a C, and to get an A, I never got an A before in media, so I was really, really shocked about that. For the 5 assessments that went into the portfolio, we did like unseen text and then comparing it to the score advert. I got 11 out of 12 on that. We did magazines, which for me was Oh Comely and Men's Health, and I think I got 22 out of 25. There was video games, so I did Tomb Raider, Metroid and Sims Freeplay, and I got 23 out of 25. We did multiple choice questions, and I got full marks, 12 out of 12. And then I think the coursework, which I got 52 out of 60, was used in the portfolio. So I'm really optimistic about media. I feel like I'm going to do really well with media studies. And finally, we have A-level sociology. So it was definitely not where I originally wanted to head in terms of sixth form options, because I originally wanted to do A-level psychology. However, because I failed my maths at GCSE and I had to resit, I ended up choosing sociology instead because they're related to social sciences still and they're quite similar. And I thought, you know, it'll do, it's fine, you know. And it turns out I really enjoyed sociology, you know. I loved most of sociology, you know, education, families and households, crime and deviance, the media, you know, they were all really interesting aspects of how society can be really fragmented, and it's not as harmonious as people tend to think it is. And it's so relevant with social work as well, especially families and households and crime and deviance. So I was able to reference my A-level sociology experience with my personal statement, and I'm getting into uni, so hopefully, you know, as long as I get the grades I need. But the essays, on the other hand, was such a pain in the arse because I didn't really know how to structure essays properly. And so I would do essays, especially in year 13, you know, I did essays, and I'd only get half marks. You know, I'd get like C's, D's, very, very lucky to get a B, you know what I mean? So it was so hard, I was crying all the time. You know, I'd go to my sociology teacher and be like, help, I don't know what I'm doing. But, you know, my sociology teacher in year 13 was absolutely amazing. She was such a gem. She'd do anything for us, you know. She'd bend over backwards. And I remember when we had our final lesson with her, she'd bring sweets, and we just ate sweets, and she was adorable. You know, Miss Abel was an absolute icon, and we love her, and I think she was the only reason why I got through A-level sociology, because my year 12 teacher, on the other hand, was a bit of a train wreck. You know, she was still nice, but not as good as the year 13 teacher. For the 5 pieces for the portfolio, I think we included the improved version of our mocks. So in my September mock, I got a C. I was 1 mark away from a B, so I was a bit upset, but it's okay. We don't, you know, it's the past, we've moved on, it's okay. But I resat the mock and I actually got a B in the end up, so I was really happy with that. We did a 30 marker on crime and deviance in relation to social class and official statistics. So for that I got 25 out of 30. We then did the media, so we did a 10 marker and then a 20 marker because it's like a subtopic, so the questions aren't as big. Again, I got 25 out of 30, so that was really good. I think 25 out of 30, I think is an A, but I'm not 100% sure. We then did theories and methods, so we did a 10 marker and a 20 marker again, and I got 22 out of 30, which wasn't really what I wanted, but you know, research methods is a really hard unit in sociology, so it's fine. I don't think we had a 5th though. I don't remember the 5th, so we'll just forget about that. Going into 6th form was a complete 180-degree turn for me. You know, I absolutely loved being in 6th form. I was doing 3 subjects, which later become 4 in year 13, that I was motivated to do. I was so interested, I was so passionate with what I wanted to do. I had this mindset of, I need to do this so I can get into uni and do what I want to do. And whilst I've been at 6th form, I have made the best group of friends I could ever ask for. And when I'm with that friend group, I feel like for the very rare times in my life, I actually feel like I've belonged with people that are all so understanding and so kind, and you know, despite being autistic, they all accept me for who I am, and we all have a great time together. And I sometimes do get worried that once I head into uni, they're all gonna forget about me, but I do hope that's not the case, you know, because they're all such amazing people, and they're all going to do fantastic with their lives. And we get in contact, we have, you know, WhatsApp groups and Snapchat and Instagram, so it's great, we'll all keep in touch hopefully. But yeah, all my friends are just absolutely fantastic. And it's so much more different than in high school, because in high school it was such a rocky road, you know what I mean? Like in year 7 I was bullied really heavily, got to the point where I would have to eat either in the toilets or I'd have to spend all my time in the SEN department because it was the only ways that I could escape the bullying for half of year 7. And thankfully the person who did kind of start off the bullying, she did apologise to me, and I have a lot of respect for her now, you know what I mean, because I know she's changed. I know when she's apologised to me, she's been so passionate about the apology, you know, because she was insecure, and I know a lot of people bully because they're insecure, and she was insecure at the time, and she kind of used me as kind of a way to discover herself as a person, and I thought that was great, you know what I mean, and I hope she's doing okay. I mean, I think she is, because I think she's going to uni this year too, but she moved after year 7, she went to a different school, and you know, we talk occasionally, you know what I mean, and things are great, you know, I've forgiven her, you know what I mean, like I've forgiven her for what she's done, because I know the year 7 version of herself is a completely different version of her year 13 self. And then once I got into year 8, the bullying did die down, but I'd say about halfway through year 8 I began to experience depression, and that was an incredibly hard time for me to be able to deal with, because I didn't know how to deal with it. And it wasn't until the start of year 9 when I began to reach out for help. So I first reached out to my head of year, and then, you know, I went to the doctors, I got referred to counselling, I got put on medication. I was on medication for about 1.5 years, nearly 2 years, because the psychiatrist was saying to keep taking the antidepressants during the GCSE times, because you're more likely to be stressed, you're more likely to want to relapse. Year 10 was such a bitchy time because I really prioritised beef and drama over my own education, because I wanted to fit in with people. You know, and it's not the way to go in life, you know what I mean, because once I left high school, most of the people who I was friends with were completely irrelevant. You know, they've never reached out to me, you know what I mean? And year 11 was still a bit woof, but I wasn't as involved in drama as I was in year 10. I was beginning to put my head down a little bit more. There was a point where I had beef with one girl because, you know, she was always trying to one-up me, but like I've said, it's 2 years ago. I've kind of moved on now. I don't really care about her anymore. She's irrelevant too. I believe she's working in Primark now. So I think the big questions that everyone's waiting for is what am I going to do after sixth form, and what are my predicted grades? So I did apply for university through UCAS, and my firm choice is Edge Hill University to do social work because I do want to become a social worker, like I've previously said. And if I don't get the grades I need for Edge Hill, which is BBB or 120 UCAS points, then I'm going to go to the University of Cumbria to study working with children and families, and then hopefully then I could get a master's to do social work because, you know, I'm really passionate about wanting to do social work. But now I've applied for things like accommodation and disabled students allowance and student finance. Things definitely feel a lot more real now. You know, I thought starting out in sixth form, I don't know if university is going to be for me, this doesn't feel real, but it does, and I'm really excited. Like, I want to go to university and get the independence, you know, make more friends and do better things with my life. And at the same time, I am quite nervous about being away from home. But, you know, I have a really strong support system, so I'll be fine. I think I'll get there, you know what I mean? I think everyone's nervous about moving. I think everyone's nervous, and I think we're all in the same boat, so I think I'm looking forward to it, you know what I mean? If things don't work out, then that's okay, but I really want to try for now. After the September mocks, my teachers had to give predicted grades for UCAS so that the universities could look at my application and things like that. So I have been predicted A, B, B for A-levels. So I predicted an A in Media Studies and then Bs in English Language and Sociology. I did the EPQ in year 13 and they don't do predicted grades for the EPQ, so that's irrelevant. In terms of predictions and what I think I'm going to get on A-level results day based on my portfolio and things like that, media, I'm predicting myself to get an A because I've been really strong on my coursework and all 4 of the assessments that I've done. You know, I've got pretty much nearly full marks on my assessments, and then I've got a really strong grade in my coursework, like I've said. So I think based on that, I think I am going to get an A. Although I think I'd absolutely love it if I got an A star. You know what I mean? Because I've worked really hard for media studies, and, you know, to get an A star would be the best thing ever for me. English language, because of how hard I found it to be, and also because the English department didn't give the marks that we got on our assessments. I think because of that, I think I'm going to predict myself a C or a B. And sociology, because I prioritise sociology a lot more than the other subjects. I'm hoping to do really well, and I hope to get a B in sociology. And for the EPQ, because it is only half an A-level, and also because I kind of left the 5,000 word essay until the last minute. I didn't get started on the essay until like halfway through January, so that was incredibly bad. But I think because of that, I think I'm going to predict myself a C, although it would be really good to get a B in the EPQ too. And that is it for today's video. So if you guys like what you see and you want to figure out how I do on results day, then give the video a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe to my channel for more content. For anybody who is either collecting their AS results or A-level results on Tuesday, I wish everybody the best of luck. And even if things don't work out, let's say, you know, you have to go through clearing, there is always an alternative path for you to take in whatever career you want to do. So please don't feel disheartened, you know, because we didn't have the chance to do exams, and it was kind of, the control was kind of out of our hands at that point. So because of that, please, you know, you've done your best in the situation. We've had to do months of online learning through three national lockdowns. You know, you're doing great, and like I say, I wish you the best of luck for your future, and I love you guys.